So we doing these big threes. What ifs? This one is Calvin Murphy, James Harden, Steve Francis. Who would have fared the best with Olajuwon to be a tag team partner? Calvin Murphy, Steve Franchise, and James Harden. It'd have been all three would have been interesting. Calvin Murphy had one of the quickest handles, quick. Like he was quick. Like, you know. And this is the Rockets. And I'm thinking, well, Calvin Murphy was underappreciated. He could go, you know. Athletic and one of those guys that, uh when he played with Moses Malone, he was a good compliment to Moses. Just different guards back then. But Calvin Murphy was an all-star, one of the greatest players ever. So I think Calvin Murphy's style would have been interesting with Olajuwon, with the juke and the shake. It would have been real interesting to see how that would have hit. Because you got to remember when he was playing, he was definitely, bringing something to the table. So I think it would have been definitely an interesting vibe if they played together, especially with, catch him in the peak and prime because he was a floor general. He could move that rock and he was quick with them handles. So it'd have been interesting had he got to play with Elijah in his peak and his prime, a motor who could create would have been something. Would have been something. So that's a good possibility that I got asked with, thinking about Calvin Murphy, undersized but played hard, was quick, agile, could shoot them free throws. It'd be interesting. Next up on the list is Steve Franchise. Steve Francis actually did, but it was at the tail end of Olajuwon. So it would have been interesting how that would have emerged because it's kind of like Calvin Murphy, except more spring in him. We know about people fail to forget the slam dunk contest of 2000. Everybody remembers Vince Carter made the legendary "It's over, it's over," and Tracy McGrady was big time in that too. But a lot of people forget Steve Franchise was in that dunk contest too, and he had crazy spring. I mean, he could get up there. Him and Yao Ming didn't really coexist to the best of the abilities. It didn't really work out. Would have been interesting with him and Olajuwon though. Think him and Akeem. That's another one that you just kind of wonder if they had to play together, how it would have played out. Because it was interesting though. So that's one of the ones where you kind of like wonder how that would have played out. Last but not least is James Harden. James Harden, who was arguably the greatest Rockets guard ever. You can debate all you want. He is the MVP. He played great in Houston. He just didn't finish. And with him and Olajuwon, would that have worked? You know, the styles he hung on to the rock so long, I don't know. He didn't pass the ball to Dwight Howard, but let's keep it real. Dwight Howard ain't no Olajuwon, so that would have been an interesting dynamic. How that would have worked, putting the guys with the guys. How might that have worked? Would have been interesting in totality. So I centralize this, kind of like wondering of how do you put this, where do you put that. It would have been interesting how that would have worked, that dynamic with Harding and him. I think if I was ranking it, I would probably say Calvin Murphy number one. And then I think I'd have to say Francis two and then Harding. As far as being able to work with Olajuwon. Ball handling, movement, playing with and without the ball. But anyway, that's my thoughts of the three Rocket guards and how they would have fit with the Lakeem Olajuwon, in my personal opinion. If you think Harden would have been better playing with him out of franchise and Calvin Murphy, they'd been no below. How would you rank them? But for me, Calvin Murphy, Steve Francis, and James Harden, I think how they would have worked with Olajuwon, big picture totality. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another. Share it if you like and hit that membership because when you do requests like this come true, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out. Peace.